Okay guys, so today I have a special video on how to retire in 20 years with $1.8 million with only investing $200 per month in the stock market. Yes, you heard me right, $1.8 million. And you might be thinking, how is this possible? That's a great question. And this is going to be through my amazing friend called compound interest. So stick around through the whole video and I'll show you a bunch of custom examples if you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced at trading, and if you make very little money or if you even make a lot of money, I'll go into all that stuff. So let's get right into it and I'll show you how this works. So what is compound interest? Compound interest is the most important thing to any investor. It's the addition of interest to the principal sum of a loan or deposit, or in other words, interest on interest. If it's the result of reinvesting rather than paying it out, so that interest is in the next period is earned and the principal sum previous accumulated interest. So for example, that's just in easier terms, that's going to say if you have $10,000 and you're earning 10% a year, if you next year you'll have $11,000. So you make more on the $11,000 than the $10,000. So over time it accumulates like a snowball effect, like a big snowball rolling down the hill. It just gets bigger and bigger and faster, the bigger it gets as well. So same thing with investing. So the snowball effect is the best way to think about it, but let's just do some custom examples so you can actually see for yourself exactly what we're working with. So you have a few slots here. This is going to be you can just type in compound interest calculator and you'll see a million popping up. I use moneychip.com, but you guys can use whichever one you want. So your current principal, your annual addition, your years to grow, your interest rate, which is, how much you're going to be earning in return, and then we calculate. So current principal right now, we'll say, the first person we'll start off with is a beginner. So we'll just say you have $5,000, right? Annual addition. So let's just say you can only put in $200 per month, right? So that's going to be $200 a month times 12 months because it's annual addition. So that's $2,400 per year. And then years to grow. The more years you put to grow, the more exponential growth you'll see. So the more, the better. But we're talking about retiring in 20 years. And we'll do 30 as well so you guys can see an example as well. And let's just say you make an interest rate of $0. So this is if you just have your money in just a normal savings account or checkings account, it typically makes zero. So in that 20 years, you put in $53,000 total. This is when it gets really important, guys, so make sure you're paying attention at this point. So your interest rate, now savings accounts, we saw them get up to about 2% at one time. So 2%, that's about $10,000 for free, right? Just for having a 2% interest account. Now, after that, you're going to hear a lot like Roth IRAs and index funds. And the normal rate of return is anywhere from like 7 to 8 to maybe even 10% on the high side. But let's just do 7%. So we're at 66. Remember, we put in 54K at 0% originally. So you're already almost triple just at 7%. So remember, 0%, you've only put in 53,000. But if you just get a 7% on return on your money per year for 20 years, that's already $124,000. So for example, let's say you are 20 years old right now, or let's just actually say 25 years old, right? That's a good common age. So in 20 years, you'll be 45 years old with $124,000 cash. So that's more than most people have in their bank account by far, even at 7% return. But let's just say you get a 10% gain. This is when you're beating the market a little bit. Do you see how much it goes up just by that 2%, or 3%? Because 7%, that's almost, what is that, $60,000 difference. But if you go 2% originally, it really only is difference from zero of about $10,000. That's because you're earning so much more exponentially at a higher amount. So now let's just say you're getting a 15% return on investment, which everyone should be striving for. It's actually pretty easy to get a 15 if you're serious about it. Even not touching it at all, you can get a 7%. So if you're serious about it and you're in a little bit, 15% is realistic. You see everything remains the same. The current principal, we're starting with $5,000 today. We're only adding $200 per month. Years to grow is 20. Interest rate is 15% though per year. You already have over $250,000. You have $364,000, boys. Now this is when stuff starts to get really interesting. So you would think 15 to 20%, it's not going to be that big of a difference, right? It's only a 5%, which if we put in 5% more, how much? It can't be more than 100,000, right? From 15 to 20. But if we put in 20 here, you'll actually see it's over $250,000 difference. Let's actually redo it to see exactly how much. Wow. It's almost $500,000 just off that extra 5%. Do you see how important that is? So stepping up from 15 to 20% is very, very, very important, because instead of 364,000, as soon as you step up to the 20% a year, now look at that, $700,000, guys. That's insane. You can retire off that, and if you have $700,000 and you even get 10% a year, that's $72,000 per year, just off 10%, which is safe. And you can be 45 years old and retire even at 20%. But you guys are thinking right now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way if we put in 25%, it's going to be $1.5 million. That extra 5% from 20% to 25%, it can't make that much of a difference, right? Well, you're wrong, because if I put in 25%, we go from 700,000 all the way up to $1.4 million, which is literally double just off 5 extra percent. Do you see how important that is? So you thought 20% was hard. You're like, oh, 20% is really hard. If you just add 5 extra percent, that's it. You're already You're doubling what you had at 20%. So that's the magic of compounding interest. That's the magic of this whole thing. That's why you guys need to be consistent, and you have to get over a 15 to 20% return on investment is very important. Now, if you're one of those people who are thinking, oh, I can't get a 25% return, it's impossible, which it's not. People have gotten 25 to 30% time and time again. That's a 30%, by the way. You can look at 2.9 million. So we'll just stop at 30% a year, because anything 20 to 30 is, I think, achievable. Some people even could get 60% a year as well. We've seen people get 60% a year consistently. 20 to 30 is where you want to be aiming for. But let's switch up some of these numbers. That was for a beginner. Let's go to like an intermediate person. So let's go $10,000, right? And let's say this person can invest $500 per month. So $500 per month would be about $6,000 a year, if my math's correct. And let's say you have 20 years to grow, right? Let's just say this person is a little bit more aggressive. We do 25 years. Remember, guys, this is only starting with $5,000. This is investing only $500 a month. But let's say 15% is where you think is realistic more for you. So what you can play around with, if you want to stay at 15% instead of like 20 to 30, and you still want to only invest $200 a month, is you can play around with the number of the years to grow. So instead of 20 years, let's say you have 25, right? Look how much difference this does too. So just off those 5 extra years, it took 20 years to grow it 376. But if you just add 5 extra years, that's it. Just 5 extra years. So instead of 45, you'll be 50 years old when you retire. That's going to double your retirement fund, which is absolutely bonkers. And let's say you can even give it another 5 years on top of that. That's how you can get $1.5 million in 30 years to grow 30. So let's say you're 20 right now, you'll be retired at 50 years old with $1.5 million, and you only invest $500, you're only investing $200 per month, guys. Anyone can invest $200 a month. There's no excuses why you can't invest. The annual addition is $2,500, right? So this is going to be $1.5 million, 30 years to grow, 15%. Let's just say you have 10%. You're still having $500,000. So that, again, that percent's important, but you can play with this. So you can retire at 60 with 1.4. So years to grow, we have 40, interest rate 10%, and you still get your 1.4 million if you don't think you can get 15, 20, 25, or 30% return on your investment. Now, the last thing to play with is going to be the aggressive. So I know we were talking about our non-aggressive people first, our beginners, people who don't have a lot of money. Let's go into, if you have a little bit more money, how this can get interesting as well. So let's just say you have $10,000 right now to put in the market. And let's say if $500 a month is comfortable for you, which would be $6,000 a year if my math is correct. And let's say we have that goal to retire in 20 years again, right? So let's just say we get a 10% return. Let's see where that puts us. About $500,000, right, in 20 years. That's just off $500 a month at 10%. So let's say we have an aggressive goals. We hit our goals. We get 15%. Look at that. Let's say we get 20%. 20% is good. That's $1.7 million just off 20% a year with $500. Now, some people say they want to invest $1,000 per month, which is very realistic as well for a lot of people. I mean, for a lot of people, it's not. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to go past this far of the video. Or if you would just want to have some goals here and see what it would be like if you could invest $1,000 per month. And let's say if you're investing $1,000 a month, you probably have like $20,000 as well to start out with. So, not 200,000. That's a huge difference. Extra zero. And let's put years to grow at 20. And let's put at 10%. So if you have an aggressive goal, so let's actually do, I forgot, guys, let's do 0% to see how much we're originally investing. So current principal, $20,000. You're investing $1,000 a year for 20 years. You put in about $250,000, $260,000 to be exact, of your own money. So let's just say you put it into an index fund, you get 7%. That's already going to be 3 times the return on investment just from having your money sit in a different account than your checking account, which is a no-brainer, right? So let's say you can go ahead and get a 10%. So this is a 3% difference from 7% to 10%. And look at that difference, almost 300,000, probably $250,000 on rough math of just that 3%. That's how important the percents are. So 15%, that should be everyone's goals, 15%, no matter if you're investing 200, if you're investing 1,000 a month, anywhere from 15 to 20% is goals. So guys, if you don't have $1,000 to invest, my point is if you don't have $1,000 to invest per month and you only have the 200 like we're showing at the beginning of the video, you got to get more creative. You got to find a way to get over 15%. You got to find a way to get 20%. You got to find a way to get 25%. You got to find a way to get 30%. So if that means working with me and learning how to actually read balance sheets and when to buy, where to put your money into, working with a professional like myself, go ahead and reach out to me. Now, guys, these are all my own opinions. Keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor, but I have grown several different accounts, been in the stock market for over 4 years now. My Webull account, I've already taken from $2,000 to $5,000 just in the matter of, I think, 8 months as well. So I'm really proud of that. And I have 4 different accounts. I also have a Robinhood account, Roth IRA, and a few different other ones as well. But guys, if we look right here, let's do it one more time. So remember, this is $1,000 a month. You have 1.7. Let's say you don't have the $1,000 a month. Let's say you only have $200 a month, right? And let's say you don't have $20,000. Let's say you only have $1,000 to invest right now. That's not going to get you the 1.7 million. So what you're going to have to do is go into this percents here, and we're going to need to get you to 25 to 30% return on investment per year. Because if you get that 30% return on investment, look at the difference. Now you have $2.2 million. And you guys can do this on your own as well. You guys should all have a compounding interest calculator. You can just go to Google, type in compounding interest calculator, and go to one of the ones you want. I use MoneyChimp just because it's easy and it's very easy to use for me. But you just type in your current principal, how much money you have, your annual addition, how much you can invest per year, your years to grow, how many years, your interest rate as well. So guys, if you're only getting a 15 again percent, look at the difference. Just that 10% makes, that 10 extra percent. It's a huge difference. $1.1 million. I know I want to retire with $1.1 million when I'm 45 years old. So guys, if you need help, go ahead and reach out to me. Hit me on my Instagram. Follow me on my YouTube. At least thumbs up the video. Like this video if you learned anything. I just gave you guys a bunch of great knowledge, awesome knowledge on how you can retire early and how you can retire with 1.1 to 1.8 to $3 million in your bank account, depending on your goals. And this is just 20 years to grow too, guys. So play around with these numbers. And if you want to, let's say you want to retire in 10 years, you can plop that in and you can see what kind of goals you need to calculate. In 10 years, you only have $100,000. So you're going to have to get your annual addition contribution up. You're going to have to get your current principal up and these other things as well. You play around with it. All right, guys, I hope this video was interesting and you learned a little bit of something. Till next time.